Hey everyone, it's Louise Green and I'm here today to do a modification video series because there's been such a demand for it in our groups, specifically for a series of exercises that are very common that need modifications. The number one exercise that I hear people wanting to see modifications or proper form on is the squat. So let's just get started with the basic squat in proper form. So one of the things that I see often in the execution of a squat that will eventually lead to injury is putting too much weight on the knee joint. So I'll show you the incorrect way first. This would be where people are putting their knees forward doing a squat and they don't have a lot of space in their legs. So they're coming here. Now all of my body weight is loaded on those knee joints. The proper way to do the squat is to sit back into it, nice width between the legs here, so that all my weight is in the heels. My chin is parallel with the ground. So another thing I often see with squatting is people doing this. They're really putting a lot of torque on their back. So you'll end up with a sore back, or if you're doing the front load way where you're not sitting back, you're gonna end up having sore knees from that. That is the first step to a fully executed squat. So the next step to doing a squat is to do it in a shallow form so that you're not putting a 90-degree angle on the knee joint. So if I am gonna take the execution that I just showed you in the previous video, I'm gonna sit back into it, but I'm not gonna go into that 90 degrees. I don't have all my body weight resting on my knees. I'm just gonna sit back slightly. If I'm sitting back slightly, I'm still feeling an engagement in my quadriceps and I can still feel a slight engagement in my glutes as well. So just remember, go nice and shallow. You're still gonna get some action in the muscle groups that we're trying to target. Try that. So another way to modify a squat is to have some assistance so that you're not going all the way down and coming all the way back up. So in this example, I'm giving a chair with a couple of pillows. The one thing I really want you to make sure is that you have a secure situation when you're doing this, because I don't want anyone falling on the ground. So pillows may not be the best, but I would still have my feet shoulder width apart or just past. I'm going to sit into it slightly and stand up. Sit and stand up. As you can see, the pillows aren't the greatest example. I'm just trying to show you some kind of assistance. Maybe you have a yoga block is perfect, or a big thick book or a couple of books, but again, making sure that whatever you're sitting on is secure for you to execute the exercise. Try that. Now I want to talk about the lunge, because this is another exercise that is a big one that people want modifications for. I just, before we get into the lunge, want to say that I don't believe that people that don't have really sound knee joints should be doing lunges at all. It's not a great exercise because it takes all your body weight and it loads it on that one knee joint, as opposed to when you're squatting, you're at least loading it on two knee joints. So if you have problematic knees, I would really caution the lunging. But here are some ways that you can make them a little bit easier. So instead of doing that forward lunge situation, you could just get into a lunging position and do a little bit of a pulse, okay? So I'm not going too deep. I'm still working the quadricep and the glute in the back. I want to show you something very closely here. Is a proper lunge situation. A lot of people think that it's the front knee that's taking you down. As soon as that knee comes over the ankle joint, we're now not in proper form. It's the back leg that acts as the elevator, okay? So really focus on that. My knee joint is lined up with my ankle joint. As soon as I start to go like this, we start to open ourselves up for injury, and it's very, very common. I've seen it hundreds of times in many classes. That's why knees are hurting. So again, just to show you that pulsing from the side, I'm gonna make sure that my alignment is correct with that knee. I'm gonna use that back leg as the elevator, and I'm just gonna do a slight up and down pulsation here to really execute the exercise. I can feel it in my quad, I can feel it in my glutes, but I'm not doing that big movement that is really putting a lot of weight and pressure on that front knee joint. Try that. So another way to slightly modify the forward lunge is to actually do a backwards lunge. Again, when we're doing a forward lunge, we put a lot of pressure on that knee. We also have to fight for balance with our core stability. So if you're still building the core, it can be a difficult exercise because often what I'll see is people doing that lunge and they're doing this at the same time. And while they're doing that, they're losing the whole purpose of the lunge in the first place. So if we don't have the core stability for it, I recommend that we just do a slight step back lunge into this position and stand up and alternate. Slight step back and stand up. It's just a little less forgiving than, again, loading all that weight on the front knee joint. Try that. So if you're finding that you do have sound knee function and that you do want to incorporate lunges into your exercise routine, but you're still finding that you're working on your core stability and you are finding that when you're doing that lunge, you're getting into that kind of out of control, I can't find my position, you can modify the exercise by holding onto a chair. So I'd go into that lunge position, I'm holding it, stepping back into position, going down into position, stepping up, so that I've got a little bit of stability going on while I'm starting to train my core during that exercise. You can try that.